Did you know that fortune telling or reading tarot cards is actually illegal in almost every state in the US? In case you haven't seen it here on Witch Talk, there is a video about a shop in Pennsylvania having a sheriff's visit and so on, and I've been asked to comment about it, so let's talk. So a quick Google search is going to pull all of these things up. Notice those states right there. Notice it says Oklahoma, Minnesota, North Carolina, Wisconsin. But notice that this one is talking about California. And notice down there it says New York. So here in Oklahoma, there is actually a law on the books from 1915. And if you read this really carefully, pause it and read it, notice that it has a couple of specific things, palmistry, clairvoyancy, but notice also how vague this law is. This technically encompasses any type of divination, such as pulling information out of a Bible, palmistry, tarot card reading, etc. But Oklahoma is not the only state like this. It's a misdemeanor in New York. We've already talked about this one right here. Pennsylvania. Florida, but you have to have a permit in Florida. Ohio. But here's the thing. Most of these laws were written way, way back in the day to cover those that were unscrupulous, that were traveling from town to town preying on people, which still happens, especially with the rise of TikTok. But I digress. So here's the thing. A lot of states are finding this. Some states and their courts are finding that this is actually protected free speech. This is actually a fantastic article on how those that write books about the subject are no different than those that speak about it to clients that come in front of them, and how it's all protected free speech. I want you to notice the date on this. 2003, 20 years ago. So this article is actually from Free Inquiry, which is the Council for Secular Humanism. It is a fantastic site with a fuck ton of articles, such as the one I was just showing you, and we'll talk about again. Now, in this article, they note several different states where it's illegal, or maybe you have to have a license, and then some where Arkansas and Mississippi, it is regulated, etc. And they talk about in Louisiana, California, etc. They also make a very good argument that we don't regulate what the church does as far as divination in the eyes of God. And yes, I put that in air quotes for a reason. They do talk about why some of these laws exist, but they also talk about right here where these laws have been challenged. I bring this to y'all's attention because you may not even know that it's illegal in the state that you're in. So when I got bombarded with all the tags in the post about them coming into a Pennsylvania shop, I wasn't surprised. Depending on where you live, you may want to chance it and you may not. So before you freak out too much, just know that this is pretty much uniform all across the country. You might check your local laws before you go do it at fairs and so on. But know that it's also pretty widely accepted everywhere unless you actually are trying to fuck people over. And then if you actively are trying to fuck someone over, that's all on you. But yeah, this is not a new thing, y'all. Welcome to being a diviner. Welcome to the undercurrent of the spiritual community here in the US.